But now he's beginning to see that there is a wider neighborhood and a vaster amount of neighbors, and that scares the shit out of him. So what does he do? He punks up and cuts a deal. This is how he has been able to make these leaps and bounds in technology. You got to remember that there is an entity which we're going to get more deeply into. There is what we call the fallen lords. At least I call them the fallen lords. You can call them the Elohim, you can call them the fallen angels, and all the different names that they have for them. These are the fallen lords of light. And they do not like, you are nothing more than vegetables to be grown and processed, much like you saw it here. They took a piece of that for this movie. But it's much deeper than that. It's much more significant than this movie. They tried to give you a little bit more science fiction than science fact, but there's more science fact if you know where to look for it. Now, frequency warfare, or the electronic dissolution of memory and consciousness, was developed by the CIA immediately after Kennedy was assassinated. It was a project to create electronically controlled robot killers that were programmed to kill on demand. EDOM, EDOM, or the Edomites. EDOM means electronic distillation of memory. They change your memory around, who you are, and take away your identity so that the identity you have belongs to them, and you kill on demand based upon what they want you to do. EDOM eliminates the memory of the individual or alters the memory of events that the individual was involved in. By electronically jamming the brain, the existing acetylcholine, and that's the part of the brain, that's the part of the essence that the brain secretes for your memory, the existing acetylcholine creates static which blocks both sight and sound. This method can be used to either block or erase the memory, or to slow it down so that events seem to happen after they actually occurred. So you have a delay of focusing in, and the chemistry that puts the picture of the experience into your memory bank is delayed. So in other words, you take a picture, they have made the solution, the picture is your experience. They've made a solution, or they've done something so that the solution that keeps that develops the negative, so to speak, they've delayed it so that the negative now takes so long to become part of your memory that you recognize that it ain't be like a month or a year from now that you think it just happened yesterday. So they have the ability to slow down the ability for you to even make a memory or even recall a memory. This is how deep they've gotten. Excuse me? Well, yeah, it's more of a kind of a condensed form of time manipulation, because it's not really time manipulation, it's time manipulation perception. Little difference, yeah. Now, biological radio effects, this is again part of the technological, which is going to lead you into the biospiritual form of mind control. The use of very low frequency and ultrasonic affecting both electrical behavior within the brain and actual brain tissue. They have technological devices that they now have circling the planet that can affect the electrical pulses in your brain as well as the tissue of the brain in such a way to force behavioral modification and changes. There is the capability now to bounce pulses of 7 to 12 hertz off the 8 hertz ionosphere. Now, the ionospheric envelope that we are in, they can bounce these particular 7 to 12 hertz waves off of it, and within 3 pulses, entrain crazy and bizarre forms of energies into your brain, which in turn now enlists crazy and bizarre behavior. So they could seed war or peace. They could seed fights, riots, and so forth based upon manipulation through very low frequency, or what is known as VLFs, and ultrasonic frequencies. All right? Now we're going to just speak about how they are going to get into dealing with mind control on a more subtle and a lot more insidious level. Because everybody's hip to what they're going to see. You're going to knock on your head and find a chip. It ain't going to be like that anymore. You're going to be the chip. You're going to be the one that is your own mind control based upon what they do to the biology in your body. Now listen very carefully. The blood is the river of life. It is also the river of light. Be very clear. It is not only the circulation of nutrients, but also the circulation of consciousness. Blood is the circulation of physiological consciousness, biospiritual consciousness. It is within the blood that you find all of the components necessary to coalesce, bring together, to bring you to higher levels of awareness. If your blood stinks, if it's filthy, if it is depraved, if it is full of garbage, you cannot enlist or you cannot filter higher light waves through such a bloodstream and then have it convert to intelligence. It is impossible. If the blood is polluted, there is no way for you to convert higher fields of light codes into higher fields of light intelligence. It isn't going to work. Spirit feels its essence in matter. Spirit has no feelings. There is no feelings. Feelings puts matter in touch with spirit. So spirit needs matter to know what spirit is, to know what it is. So there ain't nobody floating around there and knowing everything and I know what you feel like. Trying to call on some ghost or some entity that never took on a physical form, forget it. They don't give a shit about you. There is no empathy. They need to have physiological experience in order for them to set up an empathic bridge between the physical and the spiritual so that you can now, that's where your ancestors come in. That empathic bridge is based upon them having been in corporeal life. Once you're in corporeal life, the spirit has been changed. It has been quickened in such a way that it yearns to get back in there. That's where you put all kind of experiences on the soul, which is essentially the bridge between the spirit and the physical. So spirit feels its essence in matter. Matter, listen carefully, children. Matter is an envelope that seals the spirit at specific levels of awareness. Matter is an envelope that seals the spirit in to the flesh at specific levels of awareness. How light manipulates the envelope determines how the envelope is refined in order to expand it to allow the spirit to feel itself at higher and ever higher levels of awareness and consciousness. Check. Did you get what I just said? Follow me and stay with me because it's going to get deeper. Once you get this perception in, your cells are now jumping around saying, oh man, more, feed, oh this is like ice cream, feed me. Because when you start getting into the knowledge or the meal that is the self, you become insatiable. And then all of this physical bullshit don't mean nothing because you no longer have what? The appetite for it. Check? All right. How light manipulates the envelope, and I'm talking about sunlight, not this light. How light manipulates the envelope determines how the envelope is refined in order to expand that envelope to allow the spirit to feel itself. Remember I said its words, to feel itself at higher and ever higher levels of awareness and consciousness. To control the evolutionary advancement of the flesh, the spiritual advancement of man as well, one must seal and maintain the present envelope at its present level of self-awareness. Now, did you follow me when I said that? Because here's what is necessary to keep you in check. I'm going to repeat it now. To control the evolutionary advancement, that is the spiritual advancement and the spiritual awareness of man, one must seal and maintain the present envelope structure. which means the present perceptual matrix, the present, that's a window, now this is a mic, this is a desk kind of scenario. But these are not what I just said. These are agreements based upon our agreement to perceive them as such. Remember, I said that matter is a biphenomenal effect. And the only way matter becomes hard is through the agency of man's focus.